Welcome to the MadHuman channel, and tonight we step quietly, almost imperceptibly, through the folds of time. Tonight we follow traces, not of wars, not of kings, not of written records that survive by chance, but of a civilization so ancient, so profound, that its echoes may still ripple through our lives today. We do not seek pyramids, scrolls, or statues. We seek influence, subtle, pervasive, impossible to ignore once felt. This civilization may no longer exist in flesh, but in ideas, in currents, in the very architecture of human thought. Perhaps it shaped not just empires, but the invisible infrastructure of our minds, our instincts, our patterns. Perhaps, without knowing it, we are still walking guided paths, our choices and discoveries quietly nudged by what came before, by a civilization that never truly left. Long before the empires we read about, before the written word became law, before kings, philosophers, or armies walked the earth, there existed a network of understanding, a civilization whose presence cannot be measured by artifacts alone. Its cities may have crumbled to dust, its temples swallowed by soil, yet its influence lingers in rhythm, structure, and symmetry. Its knowledge was not carved into stone, but embedded in human cognition itself, in the way we build, the way we dream, the way we map the world. Some say it guided the first astronomers, whispering the mathematics of stars into minds not yet conscious of what the stars meant. Some say it guided agriculture, telling humans where to plant and when to harvest, embedding cycles of understanding so precise they survive in intuition, in inherited patterns, in instinct. This civilization was neither conquered nor destroyed in the conventional sense. Its disappearance was deliberate, a retreat into subtler forms of existence. Its legacy was never about domination. It was about persistence. It learned that influence need not be visible to endure, and endure it did. Through architecture, through trade, through oral traditions, even through the unconscious shaping of culture, it left markers that humans cannot erase. Cities were built along invisible grids, knowledge encoded in patterns too complex to fully recognize. Festivals, myths, songs, rituals, all became vessels, carrying fragments of its insight across generations, ensuring that its guidance would persist, even if its creators did not. The evidence is everywhere if one knows how to see. Geometry in ancient structures, patterns in migration, alignment of cities to celestial phenomena, myths with uncanny similarities across continents. These are not coincidences. They are whispers of a civilization that mastered more than survival. It mastered influence, weaving its presence into the tapestry of humanity itself. Humanity is walking its architecture still, often without realizing it. Our inventions, our philosophies, our social systems, they are not merely human creations. Some are echoes, distortions, or direct transmissions from this civilization, continuing to guide, shape, and sometimes correct our trajectory. And the unnerving part is this: we may never know how much of what we call progress is ours, and how much is guided by forces invisible to history. Patterns of thought, intuition, and creativity may not originate purely from individual brilliance, but from centuries of subtle instruction, encoded into our very instincts. Every leap in mathematics, science, or art may be the echo of a hand we cannot see, a civilization we cannot name, still nudging us toward understanding, still orchestrating the rhythm of discovery. Even today, in the way humans respond to the unknown, in the way knowledge seems to arrive at just the right moment, in coincidences too precise to be random, one might sense the faint pulse of this civilization. It does not reveal itself openly. It does not demand recognition. It guides silently, patiently, and with an intelligence that is as patient as it is profound. And for those who feel it, a strange familiarity in patterns, a sense of intuition, a sudden understanding that arrives without explanation. Perhaps the civilization is not gone at all. Perhaps it is still here, shaping us, preparing us, guiding us along paths we cannot yet see. As we trace the subtle currents left behind, it becomes clear that this civilization operated on principles that transcended time, space, and even what we consider knowledge. Their influence was not recorded merely in monuments or scrolls, but in systems that organize thought, perception, and even social behavior. Consider the seemingly universal patterns of human innovation. Cities emerging along similar geometrical layouts, trade networks evolving with uncanny efficiency, laws of proportion and symmetry surfacing independently in distant cultures. These patterns are not coincidences. They are signs of guidance, of invisible hands shaping civilization across millennia. Art, myth, and ritual serve as perhaps the most insidious vehicles of their influence. Across continents, stories share motifs too precise to be accidental. Floods, rebirths, journeys of enlightenment, guardians of hidden knowledge. Music follows scales and harmonics that evoke instinctive responses. Architecture mirrors celestial alignments that guide our attention and understanding without our awareness. These are not merely cultural expressions. They are encoded instructions, teaching humans how to perceive, act, and innovate. The civilization may have vanished physically, but it seeded frameworks for thought, intuition, and comprehension that persist in the human mind, guiding without revealing itself, shaping without intervention. Even our understanding of mathematics, astronomy, and geometry bears the fingerprints of something ancient, deliberate, and unseen. Knowledge that emerges at the right moment, a discovery that suddenly aligns with practical necessity, an insight that appears before the problem fully manifests, may not be the result of isolated brilliance. It may be the echo of centuries of planning, encoded into human cognition by this civilization's subtle guidance. It is as if they anticipated our progress, nudging it forward, shaping trajectories across generations, ensuring that humanity evolves along paths they once charted. Their guidance is not always benevolent. Sometimes patterns emerge in ways that frustrate, mislead, or challenge us. Disasters, conflicts, and social upheavals can appear as part of their orchestration, not to punish but to test, to redirect, or to accelerate learning. Humans may perceive these events as chaos, randomness, or misfortune, yet the patterns suggest something more deliberate, a civilization still capable of influence, still capable of steering, even when invisible. It is a hand we cannot see, a current we cannot resist, shaping outcomes from behind a veil of perception. And the unnerving truth grows. If this civilization continues to guide us, it does so with subtlety that renders itself nearly undetectable. Innovations appear just as they are needed. Discoveries, insights, and social evolutions arrive in moments of convergence. Sometimes, inspiration feels like intuition, serendipity, or sudden genius, but it is the quiet hand of guidance, echoing across centuries. Humanity, for all its sense of independence, may be following a path laid down long before we were capable of recognizing it. Our freedoms, our creativity, our choices, all may operate within boundaries drawn by invisible architects whose vision exceeds comprehension. Even our moral and philosophical developments bear traces of their influence. Concepts of justice, ethics, societal organization, and governance often emerge in parallel across cultures separated by oceans and mountains. Could it be that these ideas are not entirely human inventions, but patterns seeded by this ancient civilization, frameworks intended to guide us toward stability, cooperation, or understanding? Perhaps the very notion of morality, progress, or wisdom has been subtly shaped by a force we cannot see, yet whose hand we feel in the rhythms of our societies, the flow of history, and the silent alignment of civilizations across time. And so, in every ritual, in every discovery, in every system of thought, in every instinct that drives human ingenuity, one may sense the faint pulse of the civilization that still guides us. Its influence is quiet, invisible, yet undeniable, a persistent rhythm beneath the noise of everyday life. And for those who perceive it, there is a chilling, exhilarating awareness. Humanity may not be entirely the author of its own story. We are participants, instruments, and sometimes students in a lesson plan millennia before we could understand its significance. A civilization that may no longer walk among us still moves through us, shaping, guiding, and orchestrating the human experiment with precision, patience, and a vision we are only beginning to sense. As the centuries progressed, their guidance did not vanish. It merely adapted, becoming subtler, more entwined with human evolution. Consider the moments when humanity seems to leap forward without clear cause. Scientific breakthroughs, sudden philosophical insights, technological revolutions that arrive almost instinctively. These are not accidents. There are patterns, hidden alignments, invisible scaffolds supporting our progress, designed by a civilization that mastered the flow of knowledge and foresight far beyond anything we can comprehend. Humanity is still following roads mapped millennia ago, often without realizing it. In the modern world, these patterns manifest in ways almost imperceptible. Algorithms, networks, and infrastructures emerge with uncanny efficiency. Societal behaviors align across continents, and seemingly independent discoveries occur simultaneously in multiple locations. Even cultural shifts, art movements, ideologies, technological trends often reflect a synchronicity that cannot be explained by chance alone. The civilization's influence has survived the fall of empires, the loss of languages, and the destruction of cities, adapting invisibly into the very systems that govern our lives today. We live, breathe, and think in alignment with a rhythm we do not perceive. Perhaps most unsettling is the subtle shaping of our intuition and creativity. Have you ever experienced a moment of sudden understanding, a flash of insight, or an idea that feels older than yourself, as though it had been waiting to be discovered? These moments may be the faint pulse of this civilization, guiding humanity towards solutions it cannot yet perceive consciously. Inspiration, invention, and even social structures may not always be our own creations. They may be echoes of a design that began thousands of years ago, transmitted through culture, education, art, and instinct. Even our institutions carry the fingerprints of their unseen guidance. Cities are built along invisible grids. Governance systems often converge on remarkably similar principles across unrelated societies. Trade and communication networks evolve with a precision that seems preordained. Rituals, traditions, and stories passed down for millennia act as carriers of encoded knowledge, ensuring continuity of guidance even when the civilization itself is long gone. Humanity is perpetually participating in an experiment orchestrated before we were capable of perceiving it, its architects hidden yet active in the unfolding of history. And yet, their presence is not totalitarian. It is not overt. This civilization does not control by force, but by shaping the possibilities, nudging humanity along paths it has carefully prepared. Their influence is often felt in crises, moments when societies face impossible decisions, when technologies or ideologies hang in precarious balance. It is in these moments that guidance becomes most visible, an unexpected insight, a sudden innovation, a cultural convergence that resolves tensions in ways that appear miraculous. Humanity is subtly steered, sometimes rescued from disaster, sometimes challenged to evolve, always observed, always influenced. Even in the most personal and intimate aspects of life, traces of this civilization may persist. Our instincts, our intuition, our propensity for art, language, and cooperation, all may be echoes of lessons embedded deep in our collective consciousness. The music we create, the patterns we recognize in nature, the structure of our societies, these may not be arbitrary human constructions, but guided manifestations of a knowledge older than recorded history. Humanity, unknowingly, continues to participate in a narrative meticulously designed millennia ago, a silent dialogue between the present and a civilization whose origins are lost to memory. And as we peer into the future, the influence becomes even more disquieting. Artificial intelligence, global networks, scientific breakthroughs, they emerge not in isolation, but in a cadence that mirrors the patterns of the past. The civilization may have encoded its understanding so deeply into human cognition and social structures that even the technologies we create carry fragments of its intent. Our progress may be less accidental than we think. The paths we walk may have been mapped long before we were capable of recognizing them. Humanity is not alone in its advancement. It is still guided, still shaped, by a force invisible, patient, and infinitely subtle. As we confront the reality of this civilization's enduring influence, it becomes impossible to ignore how deeply woven it is into the architecture of modern life. It is not merely in cities, laws, or technological advancements, but in the patterns of human thought itself. Consider the moments when intuition feels sharper than reason, when ideas emerge fully formed, almost as if they were waiting to be discovered. Consider the times when entire societies, separated by oceans and cultures, respond to challenges in synchrony, arriving at similar solutions simultaneously. These are not coincidences. They are evidence that something far older, far more deliberate, continues to orchestrate the rhythm of human civilization. Science itself may be a vessel for this unseen guidance. Breakthroughs often arrive in clusters, discoveries in disparate fields that seem independent yet converge to produce transformative shifts. Innovations appear at precisely the moment they are needed, as if time itself has been aligned to deliver solutions. Mathematics, physics, and even computer science show patterns and structures that feel preordained, almost designed to lead humanity toward a certain comprehension. It is as though the civilization foresaw the trajectory of human inquiry, planting seeds that would bloom across centuries, ensuring that knowledge would not only survive but accelerate at key moments. Cultural and artistic expression, too, bears the mark of guidance. Across continents and eras, humanity creates art, music, literature, and ritual that resonate with universal themes, patterns that recur with uncanny precision. Myths share motifs, melodies echo across generations. Visual designs reflect symmetries and harmonics that are instinctively understood even without formal education. These are not arbitrary. They are intentional conduits, designed to shape perception, to train intuition, to embed knowledge in ways the conscious mind may never fully recognize. The civilization that once walked among us may no longer exist in flesh, but it lives in our patterns, our creativity, our very ways of knowing and perceiving the world. Even the technologies we create today may carry the faint imprint of their design. Consider networks, global, invisible, almost organic, that seem to anticipate needs before they exist. Consider artificial intelligence, algorithms, and systems that evolve in ways we cannot fully predict, mirroring human problem-solving while surpassing it. These may not be purely human inventions. They may be the latest iteration of a guidance system set in motion millennia ago, designed to ensure that humanity remains on paths the ancient architects deemed essential. Every innovation, every insight, every collective leap forward may be a whisper from a civilization that refuses to die, that continues to steer us subtly through time, space, and possibility. Society itself carries the fingerprints of their influence. Governance, trade, diplomacy, and education, these systems often converge on remarkably similar principles across cultures that never interacted. Entire civilizations, separated by oceans and eras, develop parallel philosophies, laws, and organizational structures. Even conflict and resolution follow patterns that, in hindsight, appear intentional, almost designed to teach lessons or guide adaptation. Humanity operates within boundaries and frameworks it did not consciously design, moving in rhythms established long before modern institutions existed. We are instruments, participants, and sometimes pawns in a design we cannot perceive yet cannot escape. The psychological impact of this realization is profound. To consider that our thoughts, instincts, and intuitions may be shaped by a civilization that no longer walks the earth is both exhilarating and terrifying. Creativity may be guided, morality may be instructed, progress may be orchestrated, and yet we perceive autonomy. We feel free, capable of invention and choice, while invisible hands subtly align the flow of events, nudging us toward outcomes preordained by knowledge far beyond our comprehension. It is a humbling and unsettling thought. Humanity is both author and instrument, free yet guided, conscious yet manipulated, participants in a narrative that began long before we existed. Even in the minutiae of daily life, the influence persists. The designs of architecture, the cadence of language, the organization of cities and transportation networks, all reflect patterns of thought that echo the decisions of a civilization we cannot name. Our rhythms of work, rest, creation, and connection may still follow the subtle architecture laid down in the shadows of history. Humanity continues to follow paths set millennia ago, learning, building, and evolving along trajectories shaped not by random chance, but by a guiding intelligence whose patience exceeds comprehension. And the most unnerving realization emerges. If this civilization still guides us, it does so without revealing itself. Its orchestration is subtle, pervasive, and nearly invisible. It does not dictate, it nudges. It does not command, it aligns. It does not reveal, it seeds. Humanity may believe it is independent, spontaneous, or self-directed, yet every discovery, every societal development, every leap in understanding may be a thread in a tapestry woven by minds far older and wiser than our own. Civilization, in this sense, is less a product of human endeavor than a continuation of a guidance system older than recorded history, still shaping, still influencing, still guiding, even in ways we cannot consciously perceive. As we dive deeper into the invisible influence of this civilization, a startling realization emerges. It may not have operated linearly like human societies do. Time, to them, may have been a pliable medium, something to weave through rather than traverse sequentially. Evidence of this emerges in the patterns of human history itself. Wars erupt simultaneously in different regions. Scientific principles are discovered independently across continents. Cultural motifs and symbols recur in civilizations that never intersected. These echoes suggest an intelligence that does not merely respond to events, but anticipates them, embedding lessons, frameworks, and pathways into the collective human consciousness centuries before they are needed. It is in the subtlety that their mastery becomes most evident. Unlike empires built of stone and blood, this civilization's survival depended on persistence without visibility. Knowledge was encoded in ritual, architecture, music, and language. It was transmitted through intuition, not instruction, through patterns, not rules. And because these methods bypass conscious perception, humanity has followed these directives unknowingly. In a sense, we are still students of their design, learning from invisible teachers whose curriculum spans generations. Even our breakthroughs, sudden insights, and flashes of genius may not originate entirely from individual brilliance, but from centuries of deliberate, unseen guidance. Think of mathematics, physics, and astronomy. Could it be that our understanding of these fields emerges not only from experimentation and reasoning, but from a framework preordained by this ancient civilization? Consider the recurrence of geometric patterns across time: pyramids in Egypt, ziggurats in Mesopotamia, temples in the Americas, each aligned with the stars and with principles of proportion that humans only fully comprehend millennia later. These alignments are not aesthetic choices alone. They encode knowledge about astronomy, cycles of nature, and the organization of matter and energy. Humans rediscover this knowledge repeatedly, unaware that they are reconnecting with lessons seeded long ago. Technology, too, bears their mark. Humanity often experiences bursts of innovation that appear almost as if they were predestined: the invention of the wheel, the discovery of electricity, the emergence of the internet. Each leap seems to follow a pattern of preparation, alignment, and discovery that spans decades or centuries. These events are rarely isolated. They converge, forming networks of advancement that parallel each other across the globe. It is as though the civilization left behind a silent scaffolding, designed to guide human ingenuity without direct interference, nudging us forward when the moment is right. Even social structures reflect their invisible hand. Governance systems, trade networks, legal codes, and cultural hierarchies often mirror each other in regions separated by oceans and millennia. Concepts like justice, reciprocity, and communal responsibility appear independently in civilizations that could not have communicated, suggesting a blueprint for societal evolution. Festivals, rituals, and rites of passage reinforce these principles, embedding lessons in memory and behavior rather than in written law alone. Humanity is, unknowingly, following trajectories established by an intelligence whose reach transcends time, geography, and perception. Perhaps most unsettling is how intimately this civilization may have shaped the human mind itself. Our instincts, intuitions, and even our creativity may be guided echoes of this ancient intelligence. When we feel inspired, we may be tapping into pathways they encoded into cognition. When we solve problems seemingly intuitively, we may be walking roads they laid out long before we existed. Our dreams, myths, and storytelling, seemingly personal or cultural, may in fact be conduits for instructions, patterns, and knowledge embedded across generations. In this sense, every thought, every decision, and every insight may carry the silent fingerprints of a civilization that refuses to die. Even modern technology may operate according to these hidden frameworks. Algorithms, artificial intelligence, communication networks, and even urban planning reveal uncanny alignments with patterns that have existed for centuries. Breakthroughs emerge precisely when necessary, discoveries converge across continents, and cultural shifts happen with synchrony that cannot be explained by coincidence alone. Humanity may appear autonomous, yet these alignments suggest guidance, a careful orchestration of progress that remains invisible to those it shapes. Their influence may also extend into the ethical and philosophical dimensions of human life. Across time and space, humans have converged on similar moral principles: fairness, empathy, reciprocity, respect for knowledge, even in societies that had no contact with one another. Could these principles be remnants of deliberate guidance, encoded to ensure survival, cooperation, and the evolution of consciousness? We may believe morality is inherent, yet it could be the faint whisper of a civilization guiding us toward equilibrium, teaching lessons across generations through cultural, intuitive, and structural channels. And still, despite the omnipresence of their influence, they remain unseen. They do not intervene with force, demand recognition, or seek worship. Their guidance is subtle, patient, adaptive, shaping humanity without the need for visibility. Crises, coincidences, and moments of inspiration may all be part of a deliberate orchestration designed to test, instruct, or elevate. Humanity is both participant and instrument in a design that stretches far beyond our comprehension, a civilization that may no longer walk among us in flesh, yet continues to shape thought, culture, technology, and society in ways we barely perceive. Even in the smallest gestures of daily life, the fingerprints of this ancient civilization may still persist. The rhythm of cities, the flow of traffic, the placement of marketplaces, streets, and public spaces, all reveal patterns that seem too precise to be coincidental. Perhaps long ago, they designed methods to subtly influence human movement, thought, and interaction, embedding lessons about cooperation, resource management, and social cohesion directly into the environments we inhabit. Architecture is no longer simply functional. It becomes a silent teacher, shaping the decisions, moods, and intuitions of those who live within its frameworks. In communication, the echoes continue. Language itself may carry the legacy of structured guidance. Across continents and eras, linguistic patterns, metaphors, and narrative structures recur with uncanny similarity. Myths, proverbs, and idioms that appear in distant societies often reflect parallel moral, ethical, or practical lessons, as if the civilization anticipated humanity's need to pass down critical knowledge, embedding it in ways that bypass formal instruction. Even when literacy was rare, these lessons traveled through song, dance, and oral storytelling, imprinting the wisdom of an ancient intelligence directly onto human cognition. Global events, too, may reveal a subtle orchestration. Wars, revolutions, migrations, and alliances often unfold in sequences that, while chaotic on the surface, reveal deeper patterns when viewed across centuries. Humanity's progress is punctuated by moments of disruption that appear random yet often serve as catalysts for collective learning, adaptation, or innovation. Could these be nudges, challenges set in place to guide evolution, test resilience, or accelerate growth? The civilization's influence, invisible yet omnipresent, seems to operate on a scale that integrates both micro-level behavior and macro-level historical trends. Even in moments of personal insight or creativity, their guidance can be felt. When artists, scientists, or thinkers experience sudden clarity, it may be more than serendipity. These moments of intuition may be a subtle transmission of pre-existing knowledge, encoded into the very structure of human thought. The flash of inspiration, the solution that appears fully formed, the realization that seems out of nowhere, all may be echoes of wisdom planted millennia ago, waiting for humanity to reach the right point of readiness. The civilization's hand moves silently through the corridors of the mind, influencing what we create, how we think, and even how we perceive reality itself. In modern technology, these echoes are magnified. Networks, algorithms, and artificial intelligence evolve with patterns that mirror the wisdom of the ancients. Systems often converge independently, discoveries emerge at precisely the right moment, and societies respond to challenges with synchrony that defies explanation. We may take pride in our ingenuity, yet it is increasingly plausible that the structures of knowledge, technology, and societal organization we rely on are extensions of frameworks designed long before we existed. Humanity is not merely progressing. It is following, consciously or unconsciously, trajectories laid down by an intelligence older than civilization itself. Even human behavior, the choices we make in groups, our instincts for collaboration or competition, our tendencies toward creation or destruction, may still be subtly guided. Patterns that recur in markets, politics, education, and social structures suggest influence on both conscious and subconscious levels. Systems that appear spontaneous or natural may actually be reflections of design principles established centuries or millennia ago. Humanity is, perhaps unknowingly, participating in a living experiment, following the blueprint of a civilization whose vision far exceeds the span of a single lifetime. And the most disquieting thought emerges. If this civilization is still guiding us, it does so without our awareness. We believe ourselves autonomous, yet our insights, creations, societal evolutions, and even moral frameworks may carry the imprints of a design older than history. We navigate a world subtly shaped, nudged, and orchestrated by forces invisible to perception but persistent in influence. Civilization, as we know it, may not be the product of isolated human endeavor, but a continuation of wisdom, foresight, and orchestration that transcends time, geography, and comprehension. Even now, as we walk through cities, interact online, build technologies, and create art, we may be responding to the echoes of this civilization, following pathways it established millennia ago. Every choice we make, every discovery we achieve, every story we tell could be subtly guided by invisible architects whose knowledge shaped the foundations of human cognition and society. Their presence is not obvious, yet it is undeniable. An intelligence that moves silently through time, orchestrating, nudging, and guiding humanity toward outcomes we may never fully understand. If we look closely, it becomes clear that the civilization's influence is not simply historical. It is ongoing, woven into the very architecture of human evolution. Consider the evolution of knowledge itself. Humans appear to stumble upon insights, inventions, and discoveries as if they were following an unseen curriculum. Medicine, mathematics, astronomy, and engineering, fields that seem unrelated, often advance in parallel, across continents and centuries, as though guided by a hidden hand. The timing, sequence, and convergence of discoveries are almost too precise to be explained by chance alone. Humanity does not merely progress. It follows a pattern laid down long ago, responding to cues we may never consciously perceive. Even the human mind appears shaped by these invisible frameworks. Our intuition, creativity, and problem-solving abilities often operate beyond conscious awareness, allowing us to access solutions that feel immediate, innate, or preordained. Dreams, imagination, and inspiration may serve as channels for this guidance, spaces where ancient knowledge intersects with the present. When a mathematician grasps a theorem out of nowhere, when an artist produces a work with uncanny resonance, or when a society collectively converges on a moral principle, it may be the civilization's quiet instruction at work, encoded into the very structure of cognition. Societies themselves carry the imprint of this intelligence. Across continents, governance systems, trade networks, and social hierarchies converge on remarkably similar principles despite vast differences in culture and geography. Rituals, festivals, and traditions encode practical, ethical, and philosophical lessons, transmitting knowledge invisibly through generations. Even periods of conflict, collapse, and rebirth may serve as orchestrated tests, designed to accelerate learning, enforce adaptation, or reinforce certain evolutionary trajectories. Humanity is simultaneously autonomous and guided, free and influenced, participating in a narrative older than history itself. Modern technology amplifies this orchestration. Algorithms, artificial intelligence, and global networks evolve in ways that mirror patterns laid down centuries ago. Innovations emerge at the precise moment they are needed, as if anticipated by a knowledge older than recorded time. Collective human creativity often aligns across regions and disciplines, producing simultaneous breakthroughs that defy conventional explanation. Perhaps our inventions are less random than they appear, guided along paths meticulously mapped by an intelligence that foresaw the future and seeded it in subtle, persistent ways. Even the natural rhythms of human life, daily routines, patterns of behavior, instinctual responses, may be influenced by frameworks planted long ago. Architecture, urban planning, education, and cultural institutions reflect a deep understanding of how humans think, move, and interact. Every school, road, city layout, and system of governance may carry echoes of design principles meant to guide thought, behavior, and progress. Humanity, unknowingly, follows a trajectory set in motion long before we had language, writing, or recorded history. And yet, despite the scope of their influence, this civilization remains invisible. It does not intervene with force or demand recognition. Its guidance is subtle, adaptive, and persistent, shaping outcomes without revealing itself. Moments of crisis, discovery, and innovation may appear random, but they align with patterns that suggest careful orchestration. Humanity may believe in its independence, but its choices, advancements, and even moral frameworks may be subtly directed by a presence we cannot perceive. A civilization that refuses to vanish, guiding us with patience and foresight across centuries. Even the subconscious mind may be a vessel for their instruction. Cognitive biases, intuitive leaps, and instinctual behavior could reflect lessons embedded over millennia. Humans are taught, without realizing it, how to solve problems, navigate society, and create knowledge, as if pre-programmed by a system older than memory itself. This guidance is so subtle that we mistake it for personal insight or cultural evolution, yet it operates continuously, shaping humanity in ways both profound and imperceptible. And the most chilling realization emerges. The civilization's reach is not confined to the distant past. Every technological revolution, every scientific discovery, every societal shift may be part of a continuum orchestrated by a design older than civilization. Our progress may not be entirely our own. We are instruments in a system whose architects we may never see, following trajectories established millennia ago. Even our moral compass, our creativity, and our intuition may be calibrated by this intelligence, guiding, testing, and shaping humanity while remaining invisible. We walk through life guided by patterns we do not recognize, influenced by decisions made long before we existed. Cities, governments, networks, inventions, and even our thoughts may be part of an ongoing orchestration. A silent hand steering humanity toward outcomes we can only partially perceive. The civilization's legacy is not lost. It is embedded into the very fabric of our existence, shaping us at every level: biological, psychological, societal, and technological. Humanity is alive within a design older than history itself, participating in a continuum of knowledge, foresight, and guidance that refuses to be extinguished. There is a certain intimacy in the way this civilization's influence threads through humanity. It is subtle, almost seductive, drawing us forward with an invisible hand, shaping our instincts, our desires, and even the way we perceive one another. Consider attraction, collaboration, and creativity. Humans form bonds, innovate, and cooperate in ways that feel instinctive, yet may carry echoes of guidance far older than we realize. Relationships, partnerships, and social dynamics often follow patterns that ensure survival, knowledge transfer, and progress, subtle nudges encoded in our biology and culture by an intelligence that understood human behavior with precision. Even desire, the yearning to create, to explore, to connect, may be a trace of this influence. The civilization appears to have embedded frameworks not only for survival but for curiosity, for passion, for the drive that pushes humanity to reach beyond itself. Art, music, and literature are more than aesthetic. They are tools that shape perception, teaching empathy, strategy, and reflection through pleasure. A song that moves us to tears, a story that captivates our minds, a rhythm that compels movement. These are not coincidences. They may be deliberate, designed to guide emotions, sharpen intuition, and align behavior with lessons too vast to perceive consciously. Technology, too, carries a seductive rhythm. Each innovation tempts humanity with power, insight, and connectivity. Yet every invention, every algorithm, every network may be part of an invisible orchestration, designed to direct behavior, shape societies, and accelerate evolution. The civilization's guidance is not authoritarian. It entices, draws us into patterns, teaches through fascination, through the pleasure of discovery. We are seduced by knowledge, inspired by innovation, and driven by curiosity. All pathways subtly aligned with instructions laid millennia ago. Even the most intimate moments of thought and imagination may bear traces of this influence. Consider the flashes of genius, the sudden understanding, the ideas that arrive fully formed in the mind. These experiences often feel personal, as if discovered independently, yet they may be the civilization's whispers, nudging humanity along trajectories it deems essential. Our creativity, our desire to build, explore, and understand, may be guided by invisible currents, shaping not only individual lives but the trajectory of civilizations. The influence extends into society itself. Cultural rituals, traditions, festivals, and moral codes encode lessons in ways humans rarely recognize. Across continents, parallel developments emerge, similar governance structures, ethical frameworks, and social hierarchies appearing in societies separated by oceans and centuries. These echoes suggest that the civilization embedded templates for human behavior, systems that guide cooperation, resource management, and moral reasoning. Even when humans believe they act independently, they may be following structures encoded in cognition, culture, and biology long before their conscious minds could comprehend them. And the civilization's guidance is persistent, adaptive, and invisible. It does not enforce. It seduces. It does not demand. It inspires. It operates in sync with human nature, guiding instincts, shaping intuition, and orchestrating societies, all while remaining hidden. Every leap in understanding, every societal convergence, every wave of creativity and innovation may be part of this ongoing orchestration, evidence of a civilization whose influence is not bound by time, space, or visibility. Humanity is alive within a continuum of knowledge, subtly molded, continuously guided, and relentlessly inspired by something older, wiser, and far more patient than we can imagine. Even the very architecture of thought, the ways humans reason, imagine, and solve problems, may be sculpted by this invisible hand. Our minds operate within frameworks laid down centuries or millennia ago, enabling us to navigate complexity, innovate, and create culture. These frameworks are encoded in language, mathematics, storytelling, and ritual, forming invisible scaffolds for cognition. We reach conclusions, design systems, and solve problems as if following intuition, yet that intuition may itself be the product of guidance, shaping human progress quietly, persistently, and irresistibly. The most unsettling realization emerges when we recognize the depth of this orchestration. Humanity believes itself autonomous, yet every discovery, invention, and societal evolution may be part of a plan we cannot perceive. Even desire, creativity, morality, and intuition, aspects we believe to be innately human, may be shaped by the lingering influence of a civilization older than recorded history. We are participants, instruments, and students in a design that spans generations, continents, and centuries, guided not by force, but by allure, inspiration, and invisible alignment. And in this, there is a strange beauty. Humanity's passions, desires, and creativity are not accidental. They are part of a continuum that links us to an intelligence older than civilization itself. Every art form, every invention, every collaboration, and every intimate connection may be a thread in a vast tapestry. A design meant to nurture, teach, and guide without overt control. To live, create, and connect is to participate in this orchestration. To feel the quiet pulse of a civilization that may have vanished physically but continues to shape the very essence of what it means to be human. History itself becomes a canvas for the civilization's subtle hand. Wars, revolutions, and migrations, events that seem chaotic, random, or driven by human ambition, often follow patterns too precise to be coincidental. Entire societies rise, fall, and reconfigure in sequences that, when analyzed across centuries, reveal a strange symmetry, as if guided by an unseen intelligence. The paths of empires, the timing of discoveries, even the alignment of cultural evolution all suggest orchestration, invisible yet persistent, subtle yet undeniable. Humanity believes it charts its own course, yet it moves in rhythms preordained by forces long hidden. Consider the moments of serendipity that have changed the course of civilization. The precise alignment of discoveries in multiple fields, breakthroughs occurring simultaneously across distant lands, solutions appearing in separate cultures at the same moment. These are not accidents. They are the footprints of a civilization that anticipated the trajectory of human thought, embedding clues, frameworks, and pathways that span generations. Humans perceive them as coincidence, intuition, or inspiration, yet they may be echoes of deliberate orchestration, proof that a design older than history continues to guide progress. Even the subconscious mind may carry instructions left behind centuries ago. Human instincts, problem-solving abilities, and moral frameworks may all be shaped by principles encoded into our biology and culture. We believe we act autonomously, yet our choices, creativity, and decisions may follow templates established by a civilization that understood human nature with exquisite precision. Dreams, sudden insights, and flashes of inspiration may be channels through which this intelligence communicates. Subtle whispers that guide discovery, innovation, and evolution without ever revealing the architect. Technology and modern civilization amplify the reach of this guidance. algorithms, global networks, and artificial intelligence evolve in patterns that mirror structures laid down long ago. Breakthroughs in engineering, science, and computation often emerge at the precise moment needed, as if anticipated by invisible hands. Social media, communication platforms, and urban planning all carry echoes of the same patterns, guiding behavior, facilitating cooperation, and nudging humanity toward outcomes preordained by intelligence beyond our comprehension. Every system, every network, every innovation may carry faint imprints of their design, shaping us from within the structures we take for granted. Even cultural evolution may reflect the civilization's quiet influence. Across continents, separated societies develop parallel myths, rituals, and philosophies. Festivals, rites of passage, and moral codes encode practical lessons, ensuring survival, cooperation, and continuity. Art, music, and storytelling are not mere expression. They are conduits for knowledge, intuition, and wisdom. Humanity perceives them as inspiration or creativity, yet they may serve as vehicles for guidance, shaping the minds, hearts, and imaginations of individuals and societies alike. The most profound implication lies in the psychological dimension. Humanity's sense of autonomy, the belief that we chart our own path, may itself be part of the orchestration. We innovate, explore, and create as if freely, yet each step may follow templates designed centuries or millennia ago. Desire, ambition, creativity, morality, and intuition, the qualities we prize as uniquely human, may all carry the faint fingerprints of an intelligence that predates civilization. Every thought, every innovation, every cultural leap may be subtly guided by a system whose patience and foresight exceed human comprehension. Even the small moments of life, conversations, decisions, encounters, may fall within the influence of this invisible civilization. Our interactions, patterns of collaboration, and the choices we make to build, share, and teach may follow hidden structures established to accelerate growth, understanding, and cohesion. The civilization's influence is pervasive, yet undetectable, shaping progress without coercion, embedding wisdom without instruction, orchestrating outcomes without revealing itself. Humanity moves, evolves, and creates, unknowingly following pathways laid down by minds older, wiser, and more patient than our own. And there is an undeniable beauty in this realization. The civilization's influence is not forceful. It is seductive, inspiring, and subtle. Every act of creation, discovery, and connection may carry the imprint of guidance that transcends time. Our passions, ambitions, and intuitions are not accidents. They are continuations of a legacy older than history, encoded into human nature and civilization itself. To live, to create, to connect. These acts are participation in an orchestration that links humanity to an intelligence beyond comprehension, a force older than memory, guiding us silently, persistently, irresistibly. The deeper we look, the more undeniable it becomes. Human history is a tapestry woven with threads we cannot consciously trace. Entire civilizations rise and fall in sequences that defy conventional explanation. Economic booms and collapses, technological breakthroughs, ideological revolutions, all appear chaotic on the surface. Yet when analyzed across centuries and continents, they reveal a rhythm, a hidden choreography. It is as if an invisible hand guides outcomes, ensuring that humanity encounters challenges, solutions, and moral lessons at precisely the moments they are most transformative. Take, for example, the seemingly random convergence of scientific knowledge across disconnected societies. Independent cultures, separated by oceans and mountains, often discover similar principles at nearly the same time. Calculus in Europe and India, astronomical observations in China and Mesopotamia, innovations in metallurgy across continents, these are not merely coincidences. They hint at an underlying scaffolding, an invisible curriculum implanted into human development, nudging societies toward discoveries that will ensure survival, growth, and progress. Each breakthrough is a milestone along a path designed to align with a vision older than civilization itself. Even societal collapse carries the fingerprints of guidance. Famines, plagues, and wars, while devastating, often act as catalysts for adaptation and reorganization. Populations learn resilience, governance structures evolve, technologies improve, and cultural norms solidify. The timing and sequence of crises, though appearing random, may actually be aligned with principles of evolution and learning, designed to accelerate the maturation of civilizations. Humanity is tested, guided, and corrected through events that seem chaotic, yet are precisely the lessons a patient, unseen civilization may have intended to teach. The influence extends to human cognition and behavior. Our intuition, creativity, and ethical reasoning may be shaped by frameworks encoded millennia ago. Consider the moments of profound insight when a solution appears spontaneously or a discovery seems meant to be. These are not purely random sparks. They may be the civilization's whispers, guiding us along trajectories of thought and innovation that ensure continuity, adaptation, and growth. Even the subconscious mind participates, responding to cues embedded in culture, ritual, and environment, nudges we are unaware of, yet which shape decisions, relationships, and achievements. Patterns emerge even in the arts and human expression. Music, literature, and storytelling are more than cultural artifacts. They are vehicles for encoded knowledge. Across cultures, similar archetypes, motifs, and narrative structures recur, carrying ethical, practical, and philosophical lessons. Songs that move generations, myths that endure for centuries, and stories that cross continents may all function as channels for transmitting guidance. Humanity experiences them as inspiration, emotion, or intuition, yet beneath the surface lies a deliberate orchestration, embedding wisdom and instruction into the very act of creation. The modern world amplifies this influence exponentially. Technology, urban design, global networks, and artificial intelligence often evolve in patterns that mirror the subtle guidance of the past. Algorithms, social systems, and even innovations in communication and transportation align with trajectories established long ago. Breakthroughs appear when readiness peaks, discoveries converge across geographies, and societal responses mirror lessons encoded centuries before. We marvel at human ingenuity, unaware that much of it may be occurring within the invisible scaffolding of an intelligence older than recorded history. Even morality and ethics may bear traces of this subtle guidance. Across disconnected cultures, principles such as fairness, reciprocity, cooperation, and empathy appear independently, as though humanity is following pre-existing templates. Philosophical systems, religious teachings, and social norms often converge, teaching lessons critical for survival and cohesion. It is as if the civilization anticipated the evolution of human society, encoding values and decision-making heuristics into the very fabric of human thought, guiding generations toward cooperative, sustainable, and adaptive behavior. The seduction of this influence is profound. It does not command. It entices. It does not enforce. It inspires. Knowledge, creativity, morality, and desire all carry the subtle fingerprints of guidance. Every act of creation, every scientific insight, every cultural innovation may be part of a continuum designed to steer humanity. Even our instincts, long considered innate, may be influenced by this ancient intelligence, calibrated to encourage exploration, connection, and adaptation. Humanity is simultaneously autonomous and guided, free yet shaped by structures we may never consciously perceive. And yet, the civilization remains invisible, patient, and unassuming. It does not demand worship, obedience, or recognition. It operates quietly, guiding through intuition, inspiration, and subtle environmental cues. Moments of challenge, creativity, and discovery are orchestrated, not imposed. Humanity is allowed to believe it acts independently, yet every step may follow trajectories mapped millennia ago. Every innovation, cultural convergence, and moral advancement may be a continuation of a legacy older than memory itself, an orchestration so profound it escapes perception yet shapes existence at every level. Even global events today, political shifts, technological revolutions, economic realignments, may be guided along pathways established by this civilization. Seemingly disconnected events often converge with uncanny precision, producing outcomes aligned with lessons seeded long ago. Our collective behavior, instincts, and even intuitions may be responding to patterns we cannot consciously recognize, ensuring that humanity evolves according to principles too subtle, vast, and patient for ordinary comprehension. And there is a strange beauty in this revelation. Humanity's desires, creativity, and curiosity are not accidents. They are part of a design that transcends time, culture, and individual experience. Every moment of inspiration, every leap of innovation, every act of cooperation may be a note in a symphony composed long before we existed. To live, create, and connect is to participate in this orchestration, to feel the invisible pulse of an intelligence that shaped us, guides us, and continues to weave the story of civilization across generations. The more one studies history with a critical eye, the more patterns emerge that defy randomness. Consider empires, civilizations, and nations. The rise and fall of societies that, on the surface, appear chaotic, violent, or unpredictable. Yet across continents and eras, there are striking repetitions in cycles of conflict, innovation, and collapse. Wars erupt at intervals that provoke societal adaptation, technological acceleration, or moral reflection. Revolutions sweep through the world with uncanny synchronicity. Pandemics, climate shifts, and resource crises act as invisible instructors, forcing humanity to adapt, evolve, and reorganize. The hand that guides may never intervene directly, yet it orchestrates events with a precision that borders on foresight. Humanity believes in coincidence, but perhaps nothing is truly accidental. Even in human psychology, the influence of this civilization may persist. Our instincts, intuition, and moral reasoning are shaped not only by evolution, but by principles embedded in culture, ritual, and environment frameworks designed to shape behavior across generations. Creativity, curiosity, and even desire may serve as conduits for instruction, guiding humans toward solutions and actions that ensure survival, cohesion, and progress. Dreams and moments of inspiration are often seen as personal insights, yet they may be channels through which the wisdom of an ancient civilization flows, quietly nudging humanity toward intended outcomes. Consider science and innovation. Across centuries, humanity often arrives at similar discoveries simultaneously in unrelated societies. Calculus emerges in Europe and India independently. Astronomical observations in China, the Middle East, and South America converge in astonishing alignment. Metallurgical techniques, navigation methods, and agricultural innovations appear across cultures separated by oceans and deserts. These moments of simultaneous discovery suggest more than coincidence. They hint at a hidden scaffolding of knowledge, a subtle orchestration ensuring humanity is prepared for challenges, discoveries, and societal transformation at precisely the right moments. Art, culture, and expression reveal similar traces of invisible guidance. Across disparate civilizations, archetypes, motifs, and narrative structures recur with uncanny similarity. Myths, music, and storytelling encode practical, ethical, and philosophical lessons, transmitting knowledge across generations. Art moves the human mind, shaping empathy, intuition, and social cohesion. When humans are captivated by a melody, absorbed in a story, or inspired by a painting, they may be responding to frameworks laid millennia ago, structures designed to educate, influence, and guide subtly. Inspiration, emotion, and creativity are not accidental. They are part of a continuum that links humanity to wisdom older than memory itself. Modern society amplifies this orchestration in ways humanity cannot fully perceive. Algorithms, artificial intelligence, and global networks evolve in patterns that mirror the subtle guidance of the past. Technological breakthroughs often emerge when readiness peaks, discoveries align across continents, and societal needs converge with astonishing precision. Social systems, infrastructure, and urban design shape human behavior in ways invisible yet profoundly influential. Even our moral and ethical evolution may be guided, with principles recurring across cultures, ensuring cooperation, sustainability, and adaptation. Humanity is not fully autonomous. It moves along trajectories that have been subtly mapped, guided, and reinforced over millennia. Even intimate aspects of human life, relationships, desires, and creative impulses may carry echoes of this guidance. Love, cooperation, and collaboration often follow patterns that ensure survival, cultural continuity, and societal cohesion. Intuition, flashes of insight, and moments of clarity may represent channels through which ancient knowledge reaches contemporary minds. Humanity's deepest desires, to explore, to create, to understand, may be shaped by a civilization that anticipated the evolution of human behavior, embedding guidance into biology, culture, and cognition itself. Global events, too, suggest subtle orchestration. Political shifts, economic cycles, social movements, and technological revolutions unfold in ways that reveal patterns and alignments difficult to attribute to chance. Natural disasters, pandemics, and climate shifts, though destructive, often catalyze adaptation, innovation, and systemic change. Humanity responds as if guided by principles older than memory, navigating crises and opportunities with intuition, creativity, and moral reasoning shaped by invisible frameworks. Every decision, innovation, and societal shift may be part of a continuum that stretches across millennia, orchestrated by a civilization whose understanding of time, human nature, and strategy exceeds comprehension. Even our sense of autonomy may be part of the design. Humanity believes it acts independently, yet choices, discoveries, and social structures may follow trajectories mapped by intelligence older than recorded history. Creativity, morality, and intuition are subtly guided, appearing spontaneous but shaped by principles designed to cultivate growth, resilience, and coherence. Desire, ambition, and collaboration are not accidents. They are instruments through which the civilization's vision unfolds. Humanity moves through time as a living extension of a plan that operates silently, invisibly, and relentlessly. The civilization's influence is seductive, persistent, and invisible. It does not enforce. It inspires. It does not coerce. It invites. Every act of creation, every scientific discovery, every societal evolution is part of a continuum that stretches across centuries, guiding humanity along a path of knowledge, adaptation, and consciousness. Even the systems of morality, ethics, and governance that appear independently across cultures may reflect a blueprint designed to shape behavior, encourage cooperation, and ensure survival. Humans participate, often unknowingly, in a story written before our history began, guided by an intelligence patient, meticulous, and profound. And there is a profound beauty in this realization. Humanity's creativity, innovation, and desire are not accidents. They are part of a continuum that transcends time, geography, and culture. Every leap of understanding, every act of collaboration, every breakthrough may be part of a design that connects us to an intelligence far older and wiser than ourselves. To live, to create, to love, and to explore is to participate in an orchestration that spans generations, a subtle yet powerful guidance shaping human destiny with patience, precision, and quiet grandeur. The more closely we examine the flow of human events, the more evidence emerges that nothing unfolds entirely by chance. Entire civilizations rise and fall with uncanny synchronicity, as though responding to invisible currents. Wars erupt at times that catalyze transformation, revolutions ignite in sequences that advance knowledge, and economic shifts ripple across continents in patterns that suggest orchestration. Even natural disasters, pandemics, and climate changes, while devastating, seem to arrive with precise timing, forcing humanity to adapt, innovate, and reorganize in ways that accelerate survival and progress. The fabric of history is not random. It is patterned, threaded with guidance we cannot consciously perceive. Human cognition itself seems designed to respond to these patterns. Creativity, intuition, and insight often appear spontaneously, as if sourced from some intelligence beyond the conscious mind. Dreams, flashes of inspiration, and sudden solutions may be channels for ancient instruction, subtly steering individuals toward discoveries, inventions, and decisions essential for the survival and evolution of societies. What we call genius may be humanity's resonance with frameworks seeded long before modern civilization, a quiet echo of intelligence older than memory itself. Even the evolution of culture and knowledge follows sequences that defy simple explanation. Across continents, disconnected societies develop parallel philosophies, governance systems, and technological innovations. Mathematics, astronomy, medicine, and engineering emerge in tandem across distant lands, often before societies are fully prepared to apply them. This simultaneous evolution suggests an underlying scaffolding, a blueprint for progress encoded in human potential. Humanity discovers knowledge not entirely of its own making, but guided along paths laid by a civilization that understood cognition, curiosity, and societal development with unfathomable depth. Patterns are also apparent in the moral and ethical evolution of humanity. Principles such as fairness, reciprocity, cooperation, and empathy recur across disparate cultures, often emerging independently. Philosophical systems, religious teachings, and social norms reinforce these patterns, embedding lessons crucial for societal survival and cohesion. It is as if the civilization anticipated human challenges, encoding templates for morality and decision-making into culture itself, ensuring that generations would evolve with an innate understanding of ethics, cooperation, and adaptation. Even when humans believe they act independently, they follow structures shaped by intelligence older than history. Consider the subtle influence on human desire and behavior. Our drives to explore, create, connect, and understand may be reflections of guidance embedded deep within our psychology. Love, ambition, and curiosity are not random. They operate as instruments in a larger orchestration, nudging humanity toward innovation, cooperation, and resilience. Intuition, moral reasoning, and flashes of insight serve as whispers, guiding thought and action. Humanity is at once autonomous and influenced, free to explore yet subtly shaped by principles established millennia ago. Modern technology amplifies the reach of this invisible guidance. Algorithms, artificial intelligence, and global communication networks evolve in patterns reflecting centuries of orchestrated human thought. Breakthroughs often occur simultaneously across disciplines, aligning with societal needs in ways too precise for coincidence. Urban planning, infrastructure, and social networks shape behavior, cognition, and collaboration in ways almost imperceptible, yet profoundly influential. Humanity appears to innovate independently, but much of its progress may unfold along trajectories quietly guided by an intelligence older than recorded history. Even crises, chaos, and catastrophe may be part of this orchestration. Wars, economic collapse, political upheaval, and natural disasters provoke adaptation, learning, and social reconfiguration. Humanity responds instinctively, employing creativity, morality, and resilience to navigate adversity. These responses, though seemingly spontaneous, may align with hidden structures, ensuring societies evolve in ways that maintain continuity, develop knowledge, and strengthen cohesion. The civilization's influence is subtle but persistent, guiding humanity without overt interference, shaping the trajectory of progress across centuries and continents. Even the small, intimate patterns of life, human relationships, decision-making, creativity, and emotional response may carry traces of this guidance. Our intuitions, judgments, and desires are influenced by frameworks encoded in biology, culture, and environment, crafted to steer societies and individuals along paths conducive to survival, innovation, and collective advancement. Flashes of insight, moments of genius, and the emergence of cooperative behavior may all be evidence of this hidden orchestration, shaping not only civilizations but the very essence of what it means to be human. The seduction of this influence is subtle yet profound. It does not coerce, dictate, or demand compliance. Instead, it inspires, entices, and teaches. Human creativity, curiosity, and morality become instruments in a grander design, part of a continuum of knowledge and guidance stretching across millennia. Desire, ambition, and collaboration serve as channels for this ancient intelligence, ensuring that progress unfolds even when individuals and societies remain unaware of the forces shaping their choices. Humanity participates in a story written before history, guided with patience, precision, and foresight that defy comprehension. Even in the modern era, as humanity accelerates its understanding of the universe and constructs increasingly complex societies, the fingerprints of this civilization persist. Algorithms, urban systems, global networks, and educational frameworks echo principles established centuries ago, reinforcing patterns that guide behavior, collaboration, and innovation. Humanity may believe it has achieved independence, yet its trajectory continues to align with a blueprint far older, subtler, and more enduring than any single lifetime. The civilization's influence is both invisible and omnipresent, shaping minds, societies, and even history itself without ever revealing itself. And there is a strange, almost haunting beauty in this realization. Humanity's creativity, curiosity, and desire are not accidents. They are part of a continuum of knowledge and guidance older than memory, spanning generations and continents. Every innovation, every breakthrough, every act of creation or collaboration is part of an orchestration that connects humanity to a civilization older than history itself. To live, to create, to love, and to explore is to participate in this orchestration, to feel the pulse of an intelligence that has shaped, guided, and continues to shape the trajectory of civilization with silent, patient, and inexorable precision. The deeper we peer into the currents of human history, the more we sense the threads of unseen guidance. Entire civilizations appear to be dancing to a rhythm they cannot perceive, rising, flourishing, and collapsing in ways that serve a purpose beyond mere survival. Wars, revolutions, pandemics, and natural disasters are not random. They are catalysts, lessons encoded into the trajectory of humanity. They challenge us, shape us, and force adaptation in ways that refine not only societies but the human psyche itself. The timing of these events is uncanny, often aligning across geographies and cultures, as if some intelligence older than memory orchestrates outcomes with meticulous patience. Even the evolution of human consciousness bears signs of subtle design. Creativity, intuition, and insight emerge spontaneously, yet with a rhythm that suggests more than random neural firing. Ideas that change the course of science, philosophy, or art often appear simultaneously in unconnected societies, as if guided along invisible pathways. Moments of genius, flashes of clarity, and dreams that spark innovation may all be channels for guidance, shaping humanity's trajectory without ever revealing the architect. We call them coincidences or inspiration, but perhaps they are whispers from an intelligence older than civilization itself. Patterns in human culture further betray this silent orchestration. Across continents, societies develop similar myths, rituals, and moral frameworks despite isolation from one another. Archetypes recur in stories, symbols, and art forms, conveying lessons about survival, ethics, and cooperation. Music, literature, and storytelling do more than entertain. They encode guidance. When humans are moved to tears by a melody, absorbed in a narrative, or inspired by a sculpture, they are interacting with a framework laid millennia ago, an invisible curriculum teaching empathy, strategy, and resilience. Even human desire may be shaped by this subtle hand. Our drive to explore, create, and connect is not entirely instinctual. It may be influenced by principles embedded in our biology and culture. Love, curiosity, ambition, and creativity are instruments in a larger orchestration, nudging humanity toward progress, cohesion, and adaptation. Intuition, flashes of insight, and moral reasoning may all carry the fingerprints of a civilization that understood human nature better than humans themselves. Every choice, every act of creation, every collaborative endeavor may be part of this continuum, silently guided yet profoundly influential. The modern era amplifies the reach of this guidance. Algorithms, artificial intelligence, and global communication networks evolve along patterns that echo centuries of orchestrated human thought. Technological breakthroughs emerge when societies are ready. Knowledge converges across continents, and cultural shifts align perfectly with discovery. Urban planning, infrastructure, and social systems shape behavior, cognition, and collaboration in ways nearly imperceptible yet transformative. Humanity believes it innovates independently, but much of its progress may unfold along trajectories quietly preordained by intelligence older than recorded history. Even crises appear orchestrated. Economic collapses, political upheaval, environmental catastrophes, and pandemics provoke adaptation, learning, and societal evolution. Humanity responds instinctively, employing creativity, morality, and cooperation to survive and thrive. These responses, though seemingly spontaneous, often align with invisible frameworks ensuring resilience, knowledge transfer, and long-term societal cohesion. The civilization's influence operates without force, guiding through patterns, lessons, and subtle nudges that stretch across generations. At the intimate level, human behavior is equally shaped. Relationships, decision-making, creativity, and emotional response are influenced by frameworks encoded in culture, biology, and environment. Moments of insight, collaboration, and innovation may be channels for guidance that reach us when we least expect it. Desire, curiosity, and ambition are not merely personal drives. They may be instruments of instruction, subtly steering humanity along paths that ensure growth, adaptation, and the continuity of knowledge. Even morality and ethics reveal orchestration. Principles like fairness, reciprocity, and empathy recur across isolated societies, suggesting that human behavior follows pre-existing templates. Philosophical systems, rituals, and social norms may encode lessons intended to shape cognition, cooperation, and adaptation. Humanity believes it evolves independently, yet much of its moral and ethical progress may be the result of centuries of deliberate guidance, subtly embedding wisdom that ensures societies function, survive, and flourish. The seduction of this influence is profound. It does not coerce. It entices. It does not demand obedience. It inspires action. Every act of creation, every breakthrough, every moment of cooperation may be part of a grand orchestration spanning generations. Even our sense of autonomy is part of the design. Humanity believes it charts its own course, yet every leap in understanding, every act of innovation, and every moral advancement may follow trajectories mapped long ago. Intelligence, creativity, and desire, what we prize as uniquely human, are subtly aligned with a continuum older than history. The civilization's patience is staggering. It does not reveal itself, yet it ensures progress. Humanity participates unknowingly, moving along paths designed to optimize survival, innovation, and cohesion. Even as we accelerate into a modern age, constructing machines, cities, and networks, the patterns remain. Breakthroughs appear precisely when readiness peaks. Discoveries converge across continents, and societal needs align. Every algorithm, every urban layout, every cultural convergence may echo principles encoded by intelligence millennia older than our own, invisible yet shaping destiny with unerring precision. There is an almost haunting beauty in this realization. Creativity, curiosity, morality, and desire are not accidents. They are threads in a continuum that transcends time, geography, and individual lifetimes. Every act of innovation, every leap in understanding, and every act of connection may participate in a design that links humanity to wisdom older than memory itself. To live, create, explore, and connect is to participate in an orchestration both invisible and magnificent, a legacy that continues to shape human destiny across millennia, silently guiding, subtly instructing, and eternally influencing the unfolding story of civilization. The more one examines human history, the more patterns emerge that defy simple explanation. Entire civilizations, separated by oceans and mountains, appear to follow trajectories that mirror one another, rising and collapsing in cycles that seem almost choreographed. Wars erupt, alliances shift, empires flourish and crumble, and discoveries emerge, all with timing so precise it strains belief. Pandemics, natural disasters, and climate shifts act as catalysts, forcing adaptation, innovation, and transformation, often producing breakthroughs precisely when societies are most prepared to absorb them. What appears chaotic on the surface may conceal the deliberate rhythm of an intelligence operating across centuries, orchestrating outcomes without ever revealing itself. Even human cognition seems attuned to this hidden guidance. Creativity, insight, and intuition arise spontaneously, yet with patterns that suggest more than random neural activity. Flashes of genius, moments of profound insight, and dreams that spark discovery may be channels through which an ancient intelligence communicates. Across continents, civilizations independently uncover mathematics, astronomy, metallurgy, and philosophy at nearly identical times. These coincidences hint at scaffolding underlying human knowledge, a subtle framework guiding the trajectory of thought and innovation in alignment with principles laid down millennia ago. Culture and morality reveal similar traces of orchestration. Across isolated societies, archetypes, myths, and ethical codes recur with striking similarity. Music, storytelling, and art carry lessons embedded in rhythm, narrative, and symbolism. Humanity experiences these as inspiration, emotion, or intuition, yet beneath the surface lies deliberate instruction. The principles they convey, cooperation, empathy, foresight, and resilience, shape societies and individuals, guiding thought, behavior, and social cohesion. Even what we perceive as spontaneous creativity may be influenced by invisible structures designed to cultivate understanding, collaboration, and survival. Desire and behavior are not exempt from this influence. Humanity's instinct to explore, create, and connect may follow preordained patterns. Love, ambition, and curiosity are instruments in a subtle orchestration, nudging civilization toward growth, adaptation, and cohesion. Intuition and moral reasoning may reflect principles established long before recorded history. Our decisions, innovations, and collaborations participate in a continuum that stretches across generations, connecting the present to the wisdom of an intelligence older than memory. Even seemingly insignificant acts, a choice, a conversation, a fleeting insight, may contribute to this orchestration, shaping outcomes far beyond individual comprehension. Modern technology magnifies the influence of this unseen civilization. Algorithms, artificial intelligence, and global networks evolve in ways that echo centuries of orchestrated human development. Breakthroughs align with societal readiness. Discoveries appear simultaneously across continents. Innovations propagate with astonishing speed. Urban design, infrastructure, and social systems shape behavior and cognition, guiding societies without overt direction. Humanity may believe it innovates independently, but much of its progress unfolds along pathways quietly preordained by intelligence older than recorded history, ensuring adaptation, cohesion, and survival. Even global crises suggest orchestration. Political upheavals, economic collapses, and environmental catastrophes catalyze societal evolution. Humanity responds instinctively, employing creativity, cooperation, and moral reasoning to navigate challenges. These responses, though appearing spontaneous, often align with invisible frameworks designed to reinforce resilience, knowledge transfer, and long-term sustainability. The civilization's influence operates subtly, orchestrating outcomes across generations while remaining hidden, shaping the arc of human progress through lessons, timing, and pattern rather than direct intervention. At the intimate level, guidance persists. Relationships, decision-making, creativity, and emotional response reflect frameworks embedded in culture, biology, and environment. Flashes of inspiration, moments of moral clarity, and acts of cooperation may channel instruction encoded centuries ago. Desire, ambition, and curiosity are not accidents. They may serve as instruments in a deliberate orchestration, steering humanity along trajectories that ensure survival, innovation, and societal continuity. Even our sense of autonomy may be part of the design, a carefully constructed illusion allowing humanity to participate freely in a preordained flow. Patterns in morality and ethics reveal the civilization's subtle hand. Across isolated cultures, principles like fairness, reciprocity, cooperation, and empathy emerge independently. Philosophical systems, religious teachings, and social norms encode lessons critical for survival, cohesion, and adaptation. Humanity believes it develops morality autonomously, yet much of ethical evolution may follow templates laid centuries or millennia ago, guiding societies toward cooperation, foresight, and collective wisdom. Even individual moral choices may reflect principles embedded deep within human consciousness by an intelligence beyond comprehension. The civilization's influence is seductive and profound. It does not coerce or command. It inspires, guides, and teaches through patterns, intuition, and timing. Every act of creativity, discovery, or collaboration may participate in a continuum stretching across millennia. Intelligence, curiosity, morality, and desire, what humanity prizes as uniquely its own, are subtly aligned with this ancient framework. Humanity participates in a story written before its history began, guided by foresight, patience, and precision so vast it is nearly impossible to perceive. Even today, as society accelerates, constructing machines, networks, and cities, the invisible guidance continues. Breakthroughs occur when readiness peaks, discoveries align across continents, and societal needs converge with precision. Algorithms, infrastructure, and cultural systems reinforce patterns established centuries ago, ensuring humanity evolves along trajectories of adaptation, innovation, and cohesion. The civilization's influence is both invisible and omnipresent, shaping thought, behavior, and societal outcomes while remaining unseen, silent, and patient. There is a haunting beauty in this realization. Humanity's creativity, morality, and curiosity are not accidents. They are threads in a continuum connecting present generations to wisdom older than memory, spanning continents and centuries. Every act of creation, every insight, and every collaborative endeavor participates in an orchestration beyond comprehension. To live, to explore, to love, and to create is to participate in a design older than civilization itself. A guidance that shapes destiny with precision, subtlety, and eternal patience. When one examines the cadence of history closely, patterns emerge that cannot be dismissed as mere coincidence. Entire civilizations rise, flourish, and collapse with uncanny synchronicity, as if responding to an invisible rhythm. Wars erupt at intervals that catalyze technological or cultural innovation. Economic collapses force social restructuring, teaching lessons in resilience and cooperation. Pandemics sweep across continents, compelling adaptation and the refinement of knowledge systems. Even natural disasters, while destructive, often act as instruments of preparation, forcing humanity to evolve in ways that align with survival and progress. The timing, scale, and recurrence of these events suggest deliberate orchestration, an invisible hand guiding the flow of human affairs with precision that defies comprehension. Human cognition itself seems to resonate with this invisible guidance. Creativity, intuition, and flashes of insight emerge in ways that often appear spontaneous yet align with historical, technological, and cultural needs. Moments of genius, sudden inspiration, and dreams that spark discovery are not isolated phenomena. They may be channels through which ancient knowledge and guidance pass into contemporary consciousness. Across isolated societies, similar discoveries and innovations occur simultaneously. Mathematics in Europe and India, astronomical observations in China and the Middle East, philosophical reasoning in Greece and the Indus Valley. These instances suggest scaffolding of knowledge, guiding humanity along pathways of discovery and adaptation laid millennia ago. Cultural evolution further illustrates this orchestration. Across continents, societies independently develop similar myths, archetypes, and moral frameworks. Music, art, and storytelling carry encoded lessons in empathy, cooperation, strategy, and resilience. Humanity experiences these as inspiration or emotional resonance, yet beneath the surface exists a deliberate structure, a curriculum of wisdom passed silently across generations. Our fascination with narrative, pattern, and symbolism may itself be a product of this design, shaping cognition, behavior, and social cohesion in ways we scarcely recognize. Even human desire and behavior reflect subtle guidance. The drive to explore, to create, and to connect is not merely instinctual. It may follow trajectories laid by intelligence beyond human comprehension. Love, curiosity, ambition, and creativity serve as instruments in a larger orchestration, nudging humanity toward adaptation, innovation, and societal cohesion. Intuition and moral reasoning function as channels through which this guidance reaches us. Each decision, collaboration, or act of creation participates in a continuum stretching across millennia, linking individual choice to a collective trajectory shaped by forces older than recorded history. Modern society magnifies this orchestration exponentially. Algorithms, artificial intelligence, and global networks reflect centuries of guided human development. Technological breakthroughs occur in alignment with societal readiness, and discoveries converge across continents with uncanny precision. Urban planning, infrastructure, and social systems subtly shape cognition, behavior, and cooperation. Humanity may perceive innovation as independent, yet much of it unfolds along paths quietly guided by principles laid long before modern civilization. These trajectories ensure societal resilience, cohesion, and the continuation of knowledge. Global crises, too, reveal traces of this subtle orchestration. Political upheaval, economic collapse, environmental catastrophe, and pandemics catalyze adaptation, creativity, and learning. Humanity responds instinctively, employing cooperation, morality, and innovation to navigate challenges. These responses, though appearing spontaneous, often align with invisible frameworks that promote resilience, knowledge transfer, and long-term sustainability. The civilization's influence is pervasive yet unseen, shaping outcomes across generations while remaining silent, patient, and deliberate. At the personal level, human behavior is equally shaped. Relationships, decision-making, creativity, and emotional responses are influenced by frameworks embedded in biology, culture, and environment. Flashes of insight, acts of collaboration, and moments of moral clarity may all channel ancient guidance. Desire, curiosity, and ambition are not accidents. They are instruments within a larger orchestration, steering humanity along trajectories that ensure survival, innovation, and social cohesion. Even the perception of autonomy may itself be part of the design, allowing humanity to act freely while following trajectories established centuries ago. Ethics and morality reveal the civilization's subtle hand most clearly. Principles like fairness, reciprocity, empathy, and cooperation recur across isolated cultures, emerging independently yet with consistent patterns. Philosophical systems, religious teachings, and social norms encode lessons essential for survival, collaboration, and adaptation. Humanity believes in moral autonomy, yet much of ethical evolution may trace back to frameworks established long before recorded history, ensuring that societies remain cohesive, adaptive, and capable of navigating crises. Even individual moral decisions may echo principles embedded deep within human consciousness by intelligence beyond comprehension. The civilization's influence is subtle yet profound. It does not coerce. It inspires. It does not demand obedience. It teaches. Every act of creativity, discovery, and collaboration participates in a continuum of guidance spanning millennia. Intelligence, curiosity, morality, and desire, what humanity considers uniquely human, are aligned with this ancient orchestration. The civilization's hand remains invisible yet omnipresent, shaping the trajectory of humanity with patience, precision, and unfathomable foresight. Even as society advances, constructing machines, networks, and cities, this silent guidance persists. Breakthroughs occur precisely when societal readiness peaks. Knowledge converges across continents. Cultural, technological, and moral patterns align in ways that defy coincidence. Algorithms, infrastructure, and societal frameworks echo principles established centuries ago, ensuring humanity evolves along trajectories designed for survival, growth, and cohesion. The civilization remains unseen, yet its influence pervades every corner of human thought, behavior, and societal development. There is a strange, haunting beauty in this realization. Humanity's creativity, morality, and curiosity are not accidents. They are threads in a continuum connecting the present to wisdom older than memory. Every act of creation, every insight, every collaboration participates in an orchestration older than recorded history. To live, to explore, to create, and to connect is to partake in a design older than civilization itself. A silent, patient, and inexorably precise guidance shaping the unfolding story of humanity. The more one examines the patterns of history, the more one realizes that human events rarely unfold as random chaos. Entire civilizations appear to respond to invisible rhythms, rising, flourishing, and collapsing in cycles that reflect a hidden structure. Epidemics, natural disasters, and political upheavals act as catalysts for adaptation, innovation, and transformation. Wars erupt at moments that accelerate technological advancement or social cohesion. Economic crises provoke societal reorganization, teaching lessons in resilience, cooperation, and foresight. Even the spread of ideas and cultural movements follows patterns that seem too precise to be coincidental. These patterns suggest the existence of a guiding intelligence operating behind the veil, orchestrating outcomes across centuries without ever revealing its presence. Human cognition seems attuned to this subtle orchestration. Moments of insight, flashes of genius, and acts of creative brilliance often arise spontaneously yet align perfectly with societal or technological needs. Scientific breakthroughs, artistic innovations, and philosophical revelations frequently appear in multiple, unconnected societies simultaneously, suggesting an underlying framework guiding human thought. What appears as intuition or inspiration may be humanity's resonance with patterns encoded long before modern civilization. Dreams, sudden ideas, and moral epiphanies may act as channels through which this intelligence communicates, influencing the trajectory of discovery, innovation, and human behavior. Cultural evolution also hints at deliberate guidance. Across isolated societies, similar myths, archetypes, and ethical codes emerge independently. Music, art, and storytelling carry encoded lessons, teaching cooperation, empathy, resilience, and strategic thinking. Humans experience these as emotional resonance or inspiration, but beneath the surface lies a structure designed to shape cognition, behavior, and social cohesion. Our fascination with narrative, pattern, and symbolism may itself be a reflection of this ancient guidance, ensuring that wisdom survives across generations, encoded in culture, art, and ritual. Even human desire and motivation appear shaped by this invisible hand. The drive to explore, create, and connect is not entirely instinctual. It follows trajectories aligned with societal, technological, and cognitive evolution. Love, curiosity, ambition, and moral reasoning may function as instruments in a larger orchestration, nudging humanity toward survival, collaboration, and knowledge acquisition. Each decision, act of creation, or collaboration may participate in a continuum of guidance stretching across millennia. The choices we perceive as autonomous may, in fact, be subtly guided by principles designed to steer humanity along paths of resilience, growth, and cohesion. Modern technological society magnifies this orchestration. Algorithms, artificial intelligence, and global networks propagate ideas, knowledge, and behaviors along patterns that echo centuries of guided human development. Technological breakthroughs appear when societal readiness peaks. Innovations converge across continents simultaneously. Urban planning, infrastructure, and social networks subtly shape cognition, behavior, and cooperation. Humanity may believe it innovates independently, but much of progress unfolds along trajectories quietly guided by principles laid long before recorded history. These patterns ensure adaptation, societal cohesion, and the preservation of knowledge across generations. Global crises further reveal traces of hidden guidance. Political upheaval, economic collapse, environmental catastrophe, and pandemics catalyze adaptation, cooperation, and innovation. Humanity responds instinctively, employing creativity, moral reasoning, and collective action to survive and thrive. These responses, while appearing spontaneous, often align with frameworks designed to ensure long-term societal survival and knowledge transfer. The civilization guiding humanity does not act overtly. It teaches through patterns, timing, and subtle influence, shaping the course of history without interference, coercion, or recognition. At the personal and intimate level, the orchestration continues. Relationships, decision-making, creativity, and moral judgment reflect frameworks embedded in biology, culture, and environment. Flashes of insight, acts of collaboration, and moral clarity may be channels for ancient guidance, linking individual actions to broader historical patterns. Desire, curiosity, and ambition are instruments of instruction, steering humanity toward outcomes that ensure survival, innovation, and cohesion. Even our sense of independence may be part of the design, allowing freedom of action while following a trajectory laid millennia ago. Ethics and morality reveal this subtle influence most clearly. Across unconnected cultures, principles like fairness, reciprocity, empathy, and cooperation appear independently yet consistently. Philosophical systems, religious teachings, and social norms encode lessons essential for societal cohesion and survival. Humanity may believe moral evolution occurs autonomously, but these recurring principles suggest guidance from a civilization older than recorded history, ensuring that societies evolve in ways that preserve knowledge, stability, and collaborative potential. Individual moral choices, though seemingly personal, may echo these patterns, reflecting intelligence embedded deep within human consciousness. The civilization's influence is invisible yet profound. It does not coerce, dictate, or demand obedience. It inspires, teaches, and subtly nudges. Every act of creativity, innovation, or collaboration participates in a continuum that stretches across generations. Humanity's intellect, morality, and desire, what we perceive as uniquely human, are aligned with an orchestration older than recorded history. The civilization guiding humanity remains unseen, yet omnipresent, shaping thought, behavior, and societal evolution with patience, precision, and foresight beyond comprehension. Even as society advances technologically and socially, constructing cities, networks, and machines, this subtle orchestration persists. Breakthroughs occur when societal readiness aligns, knowledge converges across continents, and cultural shifts resonate globally. Infrastructure, urban design, and technology echo principles established centuries ago, ensuring humanity follows paths conducive to adaptation, progress, and cohesion. The civilization guiding us remains silent, invisible, yet present in every decision, discovery, and act of creation, shaping human destiny with enduring precision. There is a haunting, almost mystical beauty in this realization. Humanity's curiosity, creativity, and morality are not accidents. They are threads in a continuum connecting the present to wisdom older than memory. Every innovation, insight, and act of collaboration participates in an orchestration stretching back millennia. To live, to explore, to create, and to connect is to participate in this silent guidance, a design older than civilization itself, shaping the unfolding story of humanity with patient, deliberate, and inexorably precise influence. As the centuries unfold, the invisible hand guiding humanity becomes more apparent in retrospect, though always remaining hidden in the present. Entire eras of human history, periods of unparalleled innovation, sudden collapse, or inexplicable societal shifts, bear the fingerprints of design too precise to dismiss. Consider the moments when civilizations seemed on the brink of annihilation, only to pivot, survive, and even thrive in ways that defy rational explanation. Pandemics decimate populations, yet from the ruins arise new knowledge, new social orders, and innovations that redefine the world. Wars consume empires, yet the ashes of destruction seed entirely new political structures, economic systems, and philosophical ideas. Natural disasters alter landscapes irrevocably, yet humanity adapts, discovering new technologies, social practices, and cultural paradigms. The pattern is undeniable. Chaos is never absolute, destruction never final. There is a rhythm, a silent pedagogy guiding humanity toward resilience, knowledge, and evolution. Even human creativity, often regarded as purely spontaneous, exhibits traces of this orchestration. Across centuries and continents, remarkable innovations emerge simultaneously and independently. Mathematical principles appear in ancient Greece, India, and the Middle East. Astronomical observations are discovered in China, Mesopotamia, and Mesoamerica. Philosophical reasoning develops along parallel tracks in disconnected societies. Artistic expression evolves in patterns that echo across civilizations separated by oceans and mountains. These phenomena suggest more than coincidence. An unseen hand guides the flow of ideas, nudging humanity toward discovery at precisely the moments it can be integrated, applied, and propagated. Societies themselves respond as if part of a larger, invisible system. Civilizations rise with remarkable coordination of social, economic, and technological factors, only to fall in ways that redirect knowledge and resources toward new centers of progress. Entire populations move, adapt, and collaborate, often unaware of the forces shaping their trajectory. Cultural, political, and technological developments ripple across continents, appearing spontaneous yet perfectly timed to foster adaptation, innovation, and survival. Even human behavior, desire, ambition, morality, and curiosity seem sculpted to ensure that the species collectively learns, evolves, and progresses. Individual choices ripple outward, intersecting with broader historical currents, contributing to outcomes that no single person could orchestrate. Crises, in particular, reveal the guiding structure. Economic collapses, political revolutions, environmental disasters, and global pandemics act as catalysts for adaptation. Humanity responds with creativity, collaboration, and problem-solving that often exceeds expectation. The timing and impact of these crises, when viewed across centuries, form discernible patterns. Humanity is challenged just enough to adapt, to evolve, and to integrate lessons that ensure survival and progress. The intelligence guiding civilization acts not by overt control but through subtle calibration, allowing freedom, observing outcomes, and adjusting pressure to achieve precise results over generations. Even modern technology illustrates this hidden orchestration. The development of communication networks, computers, and artificial intelligence unfolds in synchrony with societal readiness, economic conditions, and cognitive capacity. Breakthroughs emerge when knowledge is ripe, converging across continents in ways that appear coincidental. The social systems, cultural frameworks, and technological networks in which humanity operates may reflect centuries of guidance, ensuring innovation occurs at the right place and time, aligning collective progress with invisible principles established millennia ago. At a personal level, humans feel this guidance through intuition, insight, and instinct. Flashes of moral clarity, moments of creative inspiration, and sudden understanding are the whispers of a system older than memory. Desire, curiosity, and ambition are instruments in an orchestration that spans lifetimes, generations, and continents. Even the perception of autonomy, of free will, may exist within parameters defined by this unseen intelligence, allowing humans to act freely while remaining part of a carefully maintained trajectory. The influence is not coercive. It is seductive, subtle, and profoundly patient. Entire societies are shaped by principles embedded in myth, culture, and ritual, often unconsciously. Values, ethics, and laws repeat across isolated civilizations, suggesting universal templates designed to foster cooperation, foresight, and resilience. Even moments of conflict and upheaval, which appear chaotic and destructive, may serve higher purposes, testing humanity, refining systems, and accelerating learning in ways invisible to those experiencing the turmoil. And yet, even as humanity progresses, there is a humility embedded in this orchestration. The guiding intelligence does not act with force, only with timing and pattern. It allows humanity to fail, to stumble, and to struggle, understanding that growth, learning, and adaptation require challenge. Every leap forward is built upon countless mistakes, missteps, and crises, lessons woven into the fabric of human history, encoded as patterns in society, culture, and consciousness. The civilization that guides us ensures that the story unfolds not as a straight line, but as a complex, adaptive, and intelligent system. Chaotic yet purposeful, destructive yet nurturing, unpredictable yet precise. This is the apex of realization. Humanity does not stand alone in its journey. We are participants in a continuum shaped by forces older than civilization, older than recorded history, and older than memory itself. Every discovery, every act of creation, every moral decision contributes to a trajectory carefully calibrated over millennia. Civilization, progress, and human consciousness are all threads woven by intelligence that remains unseen but meticulously patient. The rise and fall of empires, the sparks of invention, the shaping of morality, the drive to explore and create, all of it points to a presence, a guiding hand that is never acknowledged yet always felt. And it is in this understanding that we arrive at the threshold of comprehension. Humanity's story is not random, but a carefully orchestrated continuum. We move, struggle, innovate, and evolve guided by principles and patterns that we cannot fully perceive, yet instinctively follow. The civilization that shapes us does so silently, patiently, and relentlessly, allowing freedom while directing outcomes, shaping morality while leaving autonomy, guiding progress while remaining invisible. And in recognizing this, we understand that history, creativity, morality, and even desire are not accidents. They are instruments of guidance, echoes of wisdom, and threads in a tapestry woven long before we were born. And so, as we stand at the precipice of understanding, the truth becomes undeniable. Humanity's journey is not merely a series of accidents, victories, or failures. Every invention, every moral awakening, every leap of consciousness is part of a continuum shaped by a presence older than memory, older than civilization itself. We live, breathe, create, and imagine not in isolation, but within a design whose threads stretch across millennia, linking the first sparks of civilization to the technologies, philosophies, and moral frameworks of today. History, in this light, ceases to be random. Wars, plagues, migrations, and revolutions are no longer mere chaos. They are movements in a vast, silent symphony. Humanity's triumphs and failures, its despair and joy, all ripple outward, guided by principles and patterns invisible to the naked eye yet felt in intuition, inspiration, and instinct. Creativity, morality, desire, even the perception of free will, may all exist within a carefully calibrated framework, one that allows freedom but ensures progress, resilience, and knowledge across generations. Modern life, with its technology, cities, and global networks, magnifies this orchestration. Breakthroughs, discoveries, and innovations often appear simultaneous across continents, as if history itself nudges humanity to the right insight at precisely the right moment. Even crises, economic collapses, political upheavals, environmental disasters, function as catalysts, forging resilience, cooperation, and insight, The intelligence guiding humanity is neither seen nor directly felt, but its presence is woven into the very fabric of our existence, shaping outcomes through timing, pattern, and subtle influence. And yet, the most profound revelation lies in intimacy, in the quiet moments of life. Every decision, every act of creation, every spark of understanding connects us to this continuum. When we love, explore, invent, or reflect, we participate in a story older than memory, a story that has been unfolding long before our existence and will continue long after. Our lives are not isolated threads. They are strands in a tapestry woven across centuries, guided by a civilization whose presence we feel but cannot name, whose lessons echo through time in ethics, art, science, and desire. To recognize this is to awaken, to understand that our creativity, morality, ambition, and curiosity are not accidents, is to see the invisible hand that has always guided us. It is to realize that every choice, every insight, every act of love or creation contributes to a continuum older than ourselves. Humanity is not alone in its journey. We are participants, collaborators, and inheritors of a silent guidance that spans millennia. And so, when we look at history, when we marvel at discovery, when we feel the spark of inspiration or the pull of intuition, we must remember, we are not merely witnesses to the passage of time. We are part of a story meticulously shaped by a presence beyond comprehension, a civilization older than memory, a guiding hand that has orchestrated the rise, fall, and evolution of humanity. Our lives, our choices, our very consciousness are threads in this eternal tapestry. And in understanding this, we find both humility and empowerment, knowing that we move not alone, but in concert with a wisdom that has guided us across centuries. Silent, unseen, patient, and inexorably precise. The story does not end here. It continues in every act of creation, in every moral choice, in every discovery and insight. And as humanity presses forward, building, learning, and evolving, the invisible guidance endures, ever present, ever shaping, ever whispering through history, intuition, and the continuum of existence itself. We are both the architects and the inheritors, moving through a story written before our birth, and continuing it for generations yet unborn. And in that realization lies the most profound truth. The civilization that guides us is not lost. It is here, in every thought, every action, every spark of life, waiting, watching, and shaping the course of humanity in ways we are only beginning to perceive.